And imagine the feeling of already having everything you have ever desired, not wanting it, not chasing it, not praying for it, already having it. Feel the difference. The moment you move from I hope to it is done, something inside you relaxes, your shoulders soften, your breath deepens, your heart stops begging and starts knowing. That shift, that quiet inner certainty, is the secret most people spend their entire lives searching for outside themselves. You have been taught to act according to what you see. If the bank account is low, you worry. If the opportunity isn't there, you hesitate. If no one praises you, you doubt yourself. In other words, you let the world tell you who you are. But this is living backwards. This is letting the shadow control the substance. The outer world is only an echo. It is a delayed reflection of states you once accepted within. So if you want a different reflection, you must first become different in consciousness. To act as if you have everything does not mean pretending in a forced theatrical way. It does not mean walking around saying empty affirmations while fear sits heavy in your chest. It means inwardly occupying the state of fulfillment so completely that your thoughts, reactions, and expectations naturally change. It means you no longer look at life from the position of lack. You look at life from the position of possession. Think about how you behave when you already own something. You do not chase it. You do not obsess over it. You do not lie awake worrying whether it will come. There is calmness, certainty, a quiet confidence. You don't check the mailbox every 5 minutes for something that is already in your hand. This is the attitude of the fulfilled state. Most people try to manifest while mentally screaming, "Where is it? Why isn't it here? When will it happen?" But that question alone proves they are still identified with not having, and the world faithfully mirrors that inner confession. The law is impartial. It does not respond to words, it responds to being. If you feel poor, you create experiences that confirm poverty. If you feel unloved, you notice every sign of rejection. If you feel blessed, life begins to rearrange itself to match that assumption. So the first step is simple, yet revolutionary. Stop trying to get and start being. Ask yourself, who would I be if everything were already solved? If money were abundant, how would I walk? If love was secure, how would I speak? If success were guaranteed, how would I think? Notice how different that version of you feels. There is ease, there is dignity, there is patience. That version of you does not beg the world. The world responds to them. Acting as if begins in imagination. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the workshop of reality. Every invention, every building, every relationship existed there first. When you imagine something vividly and accept it as true, you are planting a seed in the only place creation actually happens, consciousness. The outer world is simply the harvest. Each day, withdraw your attention from what is missing and enter the scene of fulfillment. See yourself already congratulated. Feel the handshake. Hear the words, "I'm so proud of you." See your phone showing the balance you desire. Feel the steering wheel of the car you dream about. Feel the ring on your finger, the keys in your pocket, the peace in your heart. Not someday, now, always now. And here's the key. Feel it real. The feeling is the secret language of creation. Thoughts are pictures, but feelings are commands. When you feel something deeply, you impress it upon the subconscious mind, and the subconscious has no choice but to express it in your world. It does not argue. It does not judge. It simply produces. When you feel wealthy, you begin to think differently. You stop counting pennies. You stop expecting disaster. Opportunities suddenly appear because your mind is open to them. When you feel loved, you stop clinging, you stop chasing, and ironically, people are drawn to you because you radiate completeness rather than neediness. When you feel successful, you take bold action naturally. You no longer hesitate, and life rewards that certainty. You see, acting as if is not about fooling the world. It is about convincing yourself. Many people say, "But how can I feel rich when my wallet is empty?" That question itself reveals the problem. You are still letting the mirror dictate your face. You are waiting for the world to change before you change. But the law works the other way around. You must dare to assume first. You must have the courage to feel abundance even when nothing outside confirms it. This is faith, not blind belief in something distant, but loyalty to an inner state despite outer appearances. The world may shout, "Nothing has changed," but you quietly smile because you know the seed has been planted, and every seed takes time to break the soil. While you wait, you do not wait anxiously. You live from the end. You wake up grateful. You speak confidently. You make decisions like someone who is already supported by life. You stop saying, "If this happens, then I'll be happy." Instead, you decide, "I am happy, therefore it will happen." There's immense power in that reversal. Start observing your daily reactions. If a small bill scares you, ask yourself, would someone who has everything react like this? If you feel jealous, ask, would someone who knows they are blessed feel threatened? If you rush or panic, ask, would someone who trusts life behave this way? Then gently shift, not by force, but by remembrance. Remember who you are choosing to be. Acting as if also means speaking differently to yourself. Inner conversations shape reality more than any external action. If you constantly rehearse failure in your mind, you're practicing the wrong play. Begin to hear people praising you. Begin to hear yourself saying, "Everything always works out for me." Let these conversations become natural, familiar, normal, because what feels normal becomes real. At first, it may feel like pretending. That is okay. Every new identity feels strange at the beginning. When you first learned to walk, you stumbled. When you first learned to write, your hand shook. But repetition made it natural. The same is true here. Persist. Stay loyal to the new state. Eventually, it will feel more real than the old one ever did. And something beautiful happens when you truly act as if you have everything. You stop needing everything. You discover a deep contentment. You realize that the feeling you were chasing was available all along. And paradoxically, once you no longer cling, things start flowing toward you effortlessly. Because life responds to wholeness, need pushes things away. Fulfillment draws them in. So walk through your day like royalty. Not arrogant, but assured. Sit like you belong. Speak like your words matter. Dream like nothing is impossible. Treat yourself with the respect you would give to someone already successful. Take care of your body. Organize your space. Handle small tasks with excellence. These are silent declarations to the subconscious that say, "I am already the person who has it all," and the world must agree. Remember, you are not trying to create something from nothing. You are selecting a state and occupying it. Infinite possibilities already exist. Wealth exists. Love exists. Health exists. Success exists. By acting as if, you are simply choosing which version of life you step into. So tonight, when you lie down to sleep, do not replay the problems of the day. Instead, enter the scene of your fulfilled desire. Drift off feeling accomplished, grateful, complete. Let sleep carry that impression deep into your being. Morning will feel lighter, hopeful, and gradually, without struggle, circumstances will begin to shift in ways you could never have forced. This is the art of inner transformation. This is how you act as if you have everything. You stop asking, you stop chasing, you stop doubting. You assume, you feel, you become, and then quietly, naturally, inevitably, life rearranges itself to match the person you decided to be. And as you continue living from this inner completeness, you begin to notice something subtle yet profound. The world stops feeling like an enemy you must conquer and starts feeling like a stage responding to your script. Situations that once intimidated you no longer carry the same weight. Conversations feel easier. Decisions feel clearer. You are not forcing confidence. You are expressing it naturally, because the version of you who already has everything does not question their worth or their future. Look closely at your old habits of mind. They were built from years of identifying with limitation. You practiced thoughts of not enough so often that they became automatic. I can't afford it. I'm not ready. People like me don't get opportunities like that. These phrases may seem harmless, but each one is a quiet command to the subconscious. Each one instructs life to keep you exactly where you are. Acting as if you have everything means you refuse to speak from that old identity anymore. You catch yourself mid-sentence and gently choose a new assumption. Instead of, I can't afford it, you think, money flows to me in expected and unexpected ways. Instead of, this is too hard, you think, things always work out for me. Instead of, why is nothing happening, you think, everything is unfolding perfectly behind the scenes. You are not lying to yourself, you are selecting the story you wish to experience. And since all experience flows from assumption, this new story becomes the blueprint for your days. You must understand that your mind is not merely observing reality, it is shaping it. What you consistently accept as true hardens into fact. So if you walk around assuming struggle, life obliges. If you walk around assuming ease, life rearranges accordingly. The law is neutral. It gives you exactly what you claim to be yours. Acting as if is simply claiming the end before the evidence appears. There will be moments when the old world tries to pull you back. A delayed payment, a rejection, a sudden obstacle. In those moments, the temptation is to say, see, it's not working. But this is where your inner discipline matters most. You must learn to treat appearances as temporary shadows, not final verdicts. Just because a cloud passes overhead does not mean the sun has disappeared. Hold your state. Remain faithful to your assumption. Tell yourself, this too is moving me toward my fulfillment. Persistence is what separates daydreaming from creation. Anyone can feel good for 5 minutes. But can you remain inwardly secure for days, even weeks, despite what your senses report? Can you continue acting like the person who already has everything when nothing outside applauds you yet? That quiet persistence is power. That is where transformation happens. Notice how a person who truly feels abundant behaves. They are generous. They share. They are not afraid someone will take their last piece. If you want to act as if you have everything, start embodying generosity now. Give compliments freely. Offer help. Share ideas. Even small acts signal to your subconscious that you live in overflow, not scarcity. And life reflects that signal back to you multiplied. Also, pay attention to how you treat time. When you feel you don't have enough, you rush, you stress. You constantly look at the clock. But someone who has everything moves with calm assurance. They trust that what is meant for them cannot miss them. So slow down, breathe, do one thing at a time with care. This is not laziness, this is alignment. You are teaching your nervous system that life is safe and supportive. Your posture even matters. Stand tall, lift your head, make eye contact. These small physical adjustments communicate confidence to your brain. The body and mind are not separate. They constantly inform each other. When you carry yourself like someone worthy, your thoughts begin to match. Acting as if is not only mental, it is embodied. Walk like the future you. Dress like the future you. Organize your environment like the future you. Let everything around you quietly affirm, I already live well. And do not mistake this for materialism. Having everything is not just about objects. It is about identity. It is about feeling chosen, supported, loved, capable. The outer symbols are simply expressions of an inner state. If you chase symbols without changing the state, you will feel empty even after success. But if you change the state first, the symbols arrive naturally and you actually enjoy them. Gratitude becomes your anchor. Not gratitude for what might come, but gratitude for what is already yours in consciousness. Each morning, feel thankful as though your desires have already manifested. Say thank you before the evidence appears. This may seem strange at first, but gratitude implies possession. You only thank someone for something you believe you have received. So by giving thanks in advance, you declare to your subconscious that it is done. As days pass, you will notice coincidences, small doors opening, random ideas leading to opportunities, people showing up at the perfect time. It may look like luck, but it is simply the rearrangement of circumstances to match your new state. When you change internally, you begin to notice possibilities that were always there but invisible to your old mindset. Acting as if sharpens your perception. You start seeing paths where others see walls. Still, the greatest change is not external. It is the quiet peace inside you. The constant anxiety begins to dissolve. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop feeling behind. You feel as though life is already complete, already generous. And from that peace, inspired action flows naturally. You don't force yourself to work, you feel moved to. You don't chase relationships, you attract them. You don't beg for recognition, it finds you. This is why the method works so effortlessly when understood correctly. You are not manipulating the world, you are transforming yourself. And since the world is only your reflection, it has no choice but to change with you. Each night before sleep, return again to that inner scene of fulfillment. Replay it gently. Add details. Feel the textures, the sounds, the smiles, the relief. Let it feel so ordinary that your mind accepts it as memory, rather than imagination. Drift into sleep carrying that certainty. Sleep is when the subconscious is most receptive. What you impress upon it there becomes tomorrow's experience. If doubts arise, do not fight them aggressively. Simply replace them. Like turning the dial on a radio. Shift your attention back to the end. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Soon you will notice that acting as if is no longer an effort. It becomes your natural way of being. You will forget you ever lived differently. And when someone asks you what changed, you may struggle to explain it, because nothing dramatic happened in one single moment. There was no thunder, no announcement. You simply decided quietly to stop identifying with lack. You chose to feel whole. You chose to live as though everything was already yours. And from that simple decision, reality began reshaping itself day by day, detail by detail, until your outer life looked astonishingly similar to the inner vision you had been faithfully carrying. And you realized that what you once called acting was never pretending at all, but remembering who you truly were, the one who was never missing anything, the one who had always been complete, the one who could step into any desired state and wear it like a garment, the one who understood that having begins with being, and at the moment you dare to be the person who has everything, life gently, inevitably, faithfully begins to show you that you do it to you in 1,000 quiet ways, sometimes so softly you almost miss it, like a casual message that leads to an opportunity, or a chance meeting that changes direction, or a sudden idea that feels as though it came from nowhere, but carries the exact solution you needed, and you start to realize that nothing is random, that every movement of life is responding to the state you occupy, like iron filings arranging themselves around a magnet, and you are that magnet, always have been, always will be, whether you use the power consciously or unconsciously. So the question is never whether you are creating, because you are always creating. The only question is from which state are you creating? From fear or from trust? From lack or from abundance? From I hope or from I know? Acting as if you have everything is simply choosing the state of knowing again and again until it becomes your home. When you wake in the morning, notice the very first thought that greets you. For most people, it is worry. What do I have to fix today? What might go wrong? How will I handle everything? But the one who has everything wakes differently. There is a softness, almost a quiet expectation that something good is about to unfold. Train yourself to begin there. Before you even check your phone, before you step out of bed, feel gratitude spreading through your chest, as though the day has already gone perfectly. Let your first inner statement be, everything is working for me today. This small practice changes the trajectory of the entire day, because you are setting the tone before the world speaks to you. You are deciding who you are before circumstances try to label you. And once you take control of that first moment, you begin taking control of many others. You stop reacting automatically. You start choosing deliberately. If someone speaks harshly, you do not collapse inside, because a person who has everything does not feel threatened by a passing mood. If plans shift unexpectedly, you do not panic, because you assume life is still arranging things in your favor. If something leaves your life, you do not cling desperately, because you trust that better is already on its way. Your stability no longer depends on conditions. It comes from identity, and identity is everything. You do not get what you want in life. You get what you believe you are. If you believe you are unlucky, you will find proof everywhere. If you believe you are overlooked, you will experience neglect. But if you quietly assume, I am always chosen, doors open for me, people value me, money supports me, love surrounds me, then life must organize itself to validate that identity. It has no other choice. So begin to rehearse this identity throughout the day, not loudly, not desperately, softly, naturally, like a background melody. While you walk, think from it. While you work, think from it. While you talk to others, feel as though you are already the successful, fulfilled version of yourself. Let every action be flavored with that inner knowing. Even the way you wait changes. Waiting used to feel heavy, like something was missing. Now waiting feels relaxed, almost pleasant, because you are not waiting to receive. You are simply watching the delivery of what is already yours. There is a difference between waiting with doubt and waiting with certainty. One feels like anxiety, the other feels like quiet confidence. Consider how a child waits for a birthday gift they know has been purchased. They do not doubt its arrival. They do not beg their parents every hour. They simply go about their day with excitement because it is already guaranteed. That is the spirit you cultivate. That innocent certainty, that relaxed expectation, acting as if you have everything, means you treat your desires as promises, not possibilities. And the more you practice this, the more life begins to feel playful instead of serious. You stop treating every problem like a threat. You begin to see challenges as rearrangements. Something moves out so something better can move in. Something breaks so something stronger can be built. Because the one who has everything cannot truly lose anything. Every shift is simply redirection. There is also deep self-respect that grows from this practice. You stop tolerating environments that diminish you. You stop speaking badly about yourself as a joke. You stop settling for crumbs when you internally feel like a feast. Not because you are demanding, but because it feels unnatural to accept less than what matches your inner state. Acting as if naturally raises your standards without effort. And strangely, people respond to that. They treat you differently, they listen more closely, they offer more generously. Not because you forced them, but because your energy silently communicates worth. The world mirrors how you see yourself. If you see yourself as valuable, the world agrees. If you see yourself as secondary, the world reflects that too. So treat yourself as someone precious now. Speak kindly to yourself now. Celebrate small wins now. Do not postpone self-love until success arrives. Success grows from self-love. Acting as if you have everything includes acting as if you are already worthy of care and appreciation. When doubts whisper, and they will sometimes, do not interpret them as failure. Simply smile and return to the state, just like returning to balance while learning to ride a bicycle. Wobbling does not mean you cannot ride. It is part of mastering it. Each time you return to your chosen identity, you strengthen it. Each time you refuse to sink into the old story, you loosen its grip. Over time, something almost mystical occurs. The line between imagination and reality begins to blur. The scenes you once only felt inwardly begin appearing outwardly with uncanny accuracy. Conversations you rehearsed happen word for word. Opportunities you visualized show up unexpectedly. Places you imagined yourself visiting become part of your normal life, and you realize imagination was never separate from reality to begin with. It was simply reality waiting its turn. This realization fills you with quiet awe, not arrogance, not control, but wonder. You understand that life is far more intimate than you thought, that it listens to every assumption, that it responds to every feeling, and you become more careful, more deliberate, not out of fear, but out of respect for your own creative power. So you guard your inner world gently. You no longer entertain thoughts that belittle you. You no longer replay old hurts for hours. You no longer tell the story of why things never work, because you know each thought is a seed, and you have decided to plant only what you wish to harvest. And day by day, as you continue walking through the world with this invisible crown of completeness, as you continue speaking, moving, choosing, and imagining from the end, where everything is already fulfilled, as you continue trusting that what you have accepted internally must extern, lies in perfect timing, you find yourself living with a calm certainty that cannot be shaken, a quiet smile that appears for no reason, a sense that you are supported by something vast and intelligent, and you keep going, not trying to reach a final destination, not trying to prove anything to anyone, but simply dwelling in the state of having, of being, of already possessing the life you once thought was far away. And from that steady inner fullness, new desires arise gently, playfully, and you assume those too and step into them too. And life continues unfolding like an endless reflection of your chosen consciousness, expanding, deepening, opening, always responding, always shaping itself around the person you decide to be, always ready to show you more evidence that the moment you live as though you have everything, everything begins quietly moving toward you without strain, without force, without chase, like it had been waiting all along for you to finally accept that it was yours, yours by nature, yours by identity, yours not because you earned it through struggle, but because you selected it in consciousness. And this understanding dissolves the old habit of striving so hard, because striving secretly admits separation. It says the thing is over there and you are over here, and that distance is exactly what keeps it delayed. But when you act as if there is no distance, when you feel the wish fulfilled now, the bridge between you and the desire collapses and there is nothing left to cross, you begin to notice how much of your former effort was unnecessary. The overthinking, the forcing, the constant checking for results, it all came from mistrust, from the belief that life needed to be pushed. But the person who has everything does not push the river. They float with it. They take inspired action, yes, but it feels natural, almost obvious, like turning a doorknob that was already unlocked. There is a softness to this way of living, yet it is incredibly powerful. You are no longer wrestling with circumstances. You are directing them quietly from within. And because it is subtle, other people may not even realize what you are doing. They may call you lucky. They may say you have good timing. They may wonder how things always seem to work out for you. But you know the truth. You changed the inner script, and the play had to follow. Start paying attention to how often you used to postpone your happiness. I'll relax when the money comes. I'll feel confident when they approve me. I'll enjoy life after everything is fixed. That habit keeps joy forever in the future. Acting as if you have everything means you stop postponing. You allow yourself to feel satisfied now, even before anything changes. And strangely, that satisfaction is what allows everything to change, because happiness is not the result, it is the cause. When you are happy for no reason, you are declaring that nothing is missing. And when nothing is missing in consciousness, nothing can be missing in experience for long. Life rushes to match that completeness. It fills the space with more reasons to feel the way you already decided to feel. So laugh more, appreciate small things, enjoy your tea, your walk, the sunlight on the floor. These are not trivial moments, they are confirmations of abundance. They are signals to the subconscious that say, life is already good. And from the T message, greater good must grow. At times you may look back at your old self and barely recognize that person, the one who worried constantly, the one who checked for signs every hour, the one who felt behind everyone else. That version of you was simply identified with a state of lack. Nothing was wrong with them. They were just wearing the wrong costume. Now you have changed costumes. Now you are wearing the identity of the one who has everything, and the world treats you accordingly. Even your goals start to feel different. They are no longer desperate attempts to prove your worth. They become expressions of joy, expansions of who you already are. You create not to fill emptiness, but to express fullness. And creation born from fullness has a completely different energy. It is magnetic, effortless, fun. You trust yourself more. Decisions come quicker. Intuition becomes louder, because fear no longer drowns it out. When you feel secure, you can hear that quiet inner guidance that was always speaking. It nudges you toward the right place at the right time. It tells you who to call, what to try, when to rest. Acting as if you have everything sharpens this connection, because you are no longer in survival mode. You are in receiving mode. And receiving is an art. You learn to say yes to help, yes to opportunities, yes to compliments. Before you might have deflected them, feeling unworthy. Now you accept them easily because, of course, good things come to you. Why wouldn't they? That simple shift opens doors that resistance once kept closed. There is also forgiveness that arises naturally. You stop holding grudges against the past. You stop replaying old failures, because the one who has everything does not carry old baggage. Why drag yesterday into today when today is already complete? So you release people, you release mistakes, you release outdated stories, you travel lighter, and that lightness allows you to move faster than ever before. The more you embody this state, the more ordinary miracles become. Bills get paid at the perfect time, ideas lead to income, strangers offer kindness, lost things return, health improves, relationships harmonize, not because you forced the world to obey, but because you stopped contradicting your own good with constant doubt. You finally allowed life to be kind to you. And the beautiful thing is, none of this requires strain. You do not need to chant for hours or fight your mind aggressively. You simply return again and again to the feeling of already being blessed, like returning home after wandering. Every time you notice yourself slipping into lack, you gently step back into fullness. No drama, no guilt, just a quiet correction. Gradually, this becomes your baseline. Feeling supported becomes normal. Expecting success becomes normal. Thinking positively stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like common sense. And when something wonderful happens, you are not shocked. You simply nod internally, as if to say, of course, this is how my life works. From here, life unfolds almost like a conversation between you and the unseen. You assume and it responds. You imagine and it arranges. You feel grateful and it multiplies reasons. Back and forth, moment by moment, a dance of consciousness and form, inner and outer, cause and effect blending together, so seamlessly that you can no longer tell where one ends and the other begins, and you keep walking forward in this quiet certainty, carrying yourself like someone already fulfilled, already provided for, already loved beyond measure, continuing to think from the end, to feel from the end, to live from the end, knowing that every step you take in that state is shaping the next scene of your life, knowing that nothing is truly separate from you, knowing that having was always a matter of being, And being is simply a choice you renew with each breath, each thought, each gentle assumption that what you desire is not coming someday but is present now, unfolding now, arranging itself now as you continue to inhabit the rich, steady, undeniable feeling that you already have everything and therefore move through the world with that quiet, unshakable, ever-deepening sense of complete inner possession that keeps expanding into more and more experiences that mirror it, without end, without limit, without ever needing to declare it finished or complete, because creation itself keeps flowing forward from the state of already having, always becoming, always expressing, always opening into more life, more color, more texture, more subtle proofs that the inner decision you made long ago is still rippling outward in ways too intricate to calculate, like circles spreading across water long after the stone has sunk, and you begin to sense that you are not chasing a destiny at all, but radiating one, constantly broadcasting a silent message to the world that says, this is who I am now, this is what is normal for me now, this is what I accept as my reality now, and everything around you obediently reorganizes itself to agree. You stop measuring progress the old way. Before, you looked for big dramatic changes to prove something was happening. Now you notice the tiny shifts, the way your mood stays steady even when plans change, the way you no longer feel intimidated walking into new rooms, the way you speak your thoughts without second guessing. These inner changes are the true manifestations. The outer ones are just delayed applause. Because when you truly act as if you have everything, the first thing you receive is not stuff. It is stability, emotional stability, mental clarity, a grounded sense of self that no circumstance can easily shake. And from that stability, everything else grows naturally, like branches from a healthy tree. There is a certain silence that develops inside you too. Less mental noise, less arguing with reality. You stop narrating every little problem. You stop complaining out loud, not because you are suppressing anything, but because it simply feels unnecessary. Why complain when you assume things are always resolving in your favor? Why dramatize when you trust the outcome? Your inner world becomes quieter, cleaner, more spacious, and in that space, intuition speaks louder than fear ever did. You may even notice how differently you breathe, slower, deeper, as if your body finally understands it is safe. This is important because a relaxed body sends a powerful message to the subconscious, I am secure. And security is the emotional signature of someone who already has everything. Scarcity feels tight and shallow. Abundance feels open and calm. So even your breath becomes part of the practice. When tension arises, you pause, inhale gently, and remember who you are choosing to be. Not the one scrambling to survive, but the one already supported by life. That single breath can reset your entire state, like stepping back into character in the middle of a play. And as this state becomes more familiar, you start to treat your imagination with more respect. You no longer let it run wild with worst-case scenarios. You stop using it to rehearse disaster. Instead, you deliberately imagine lovely outcomes, smooth conversations, successful meetings, harmonious relationships. You use imagination the way it was meant to be used, as a creative tool, not a fear generator. During idle moments, instead of scrolling endlessly or worrying aimlessly, you return inward and gently visit the fulfilled version of your life. You see yourself there so often that it begins to feel like a memory rather than a dream. And once something feels like a memory, the mind stops resisting it. It accepts it as natural. This is when manifestation accelerates, because you are no longer trying to convince yourself. You simply know. People around you might notice the difference before you do. They may comment that you seem calmer, more confident, more magnetic. They may ask what changed, and you might smile because nothing external changed first. You simply stopped arguing for your limitations. You stopped identifying with the old story. You quietly decided to live as though everything was already handled, and from that decision your tone softened, your posture straightened, your choices improved, your opportunities multiplied, your relationships warmed, all without struggle, all without force, as though life had been waiting patiently for you to accept the role that was always meant for you. You also stopped comparing timelines. Acting as if you have everything means you trust your own path completely. When someone else succeeds, you feel genuine happiness instead of envy, because their success does not threaten yours. There is no competition in abundance. If anything, their success becomes evidence that more is possible for everyone, including you. That mindset keeps your heart open, and an open heart receives far more than a guarded one ever could. Even setbacks transform in meaning. What once felt like failure now feels like feedback, a redirection. You no longer take it personally. You simply adjust and continue, still anchored in the assumption that everything ultimately serves you. This resilience is priceless. It keeps momentum alive. While others quit out of discouragement, you remain steady, almost serene, because you never doubted the end to begin with. And sometimes, in quiet moments, you catch yourself feeling grateful for no specific reason at all. Just a deep, steady appreciation for being alive, for existing, for breathing. That is the purest sign you are living from fullness. Nothing is missing in that moment. Nothing needs to be added. You are complete right now. From that completeness, every desire that appears is just an expansion of joy, not a remedy for pain. So you keep going like this day after day, not chasing, not forcing, simply choosing again and again to occupy the state of the one who already has everything, thinking from it, speaking from it, moving from it, resting in it, letting it color every reaction and every assumption until the boundary between inner and outer dissolves completely and your life becomes a seamless reflection of that quiet inner wealth. And you continue forward with the same gentle certainty, allowing new dreams to form and instantly welcoming them as already yours too, carrying this attitude into every room, every conversation, every decision, living not as someone trying to become blessed, but as someone who has finally realized they have always been blessed, and therefore walking through the world with that soft smile, that calm heart, that steady knowing that whatever appears next must inevitably align with the state you hold, and you remain there, rooted in that identity, letting creation keep unfolding from it endlessly, naturally, effortlessly, like a story still being written line by line with no need to close the book or reach a final page as you continue inhabiting the rich, expansive, ever-present feeling of already having it all and watching life keep mirroring that feeling back to you in new and surprising ways with each passing moment. So as we come to the end of these words, understand that nothing I have shared with you is a technique to force the world or a trick to manipulate events or a temporary motivation that fades tomorrow. It is a shift in identity, a return to who you truly are. Because the greatest mistake you ever made was believing you were separate from what you desire. You were never meant to chase life. You were meant to embody it. Everything you have been seeking, the success, the love, the freedom, the security, the recognition, is not something you earn by struggle. It is something you allow by assumption. The moment you stop saying one day and start saying it is already mine, the entire game changes. The moment you stop begging and start being, reality begins to rearrange itself around your quiet certainty. Acting as if you have everything is not pretending. It is remembering. Remembering that your inner state is the cause and the world is the effect. Remembering that feelings create facts. Remembering that life mirrors who you believe you are. And when you finally dare to believe you are already whole, already chosen, already blessed,